These aren't working. My numpad's turned off. Ah, that makes sense. Alright guys, give me just a moment. I do just want to type in best of 15 here and give it a bit of a highlight. And then we go like this, and we bold it, layout, flip it this, I'll rotate it that way. Okay. Alright, sorry guys, just a moment to make sure that people can sort of see what's going on. Why doesn't it fit? My god, why doesn't it fit? Come on! You used to fit. I did this before, it always fit. There you go. Perfect. Alright then guys, so let's get this started. To the bottom left hand side, our blue Zerg player. Champion of that previous map contest tournament, can he take 2 in a row? Let's see how things start out, as in the bottom left hand side, it is soO. And to the upper right hand side, the red Terran player. Give it up if you're cheering on INnoVation. As I was saying, 2 legends of the game. These players have most classically clashed in finals before even. I mean, VSL finals was a 4-0 stomp by INnoVation. And again, lately maybe soO didn't look so great. The last time these guys played was our last map contest tournament. That was a fantastic series. That really was one of the best of the entire event, if I say so myself. Oh, you know, I really feel like it was just absolutely fantastic. So it was really fantastic to see. And soO came out ahead that time around, 3-2. Now, obviously, this is going to be a lot of different maps here. It's difficult to know just how exactly each of these players are going to play on all of them. I mean, the other day when we saw a lot of soO's ZVT, he was playing very aggressively. A lot of roach rollings coming down early in the game, a lot of aggression from the get-go, and just setting up in that sort of way to find some quicker victories. But of course, against INnoVation, I don't think you can just do that more than, you know, I think we'll see some of that in this series, but I don't think we're going to see that more than once or twice, or maybe, I guess in a best of 15, maybe we see it 3 or 4 times at most, I think, because I think anything more than that, and INnoVation is just going to cotton on to the fact and just play a bit safer. You know, if you start just all in him every single game, INnoVation's just not going to stand for it. He will adapt, he will change his build orders, he'll make it work. So that's the kind of issue that soO might run into there. And I mean, of course, these guys are both capable of playing some fantastic long macro games. You know, I would not be sad if every single one of these games was 20 minutes long and if we were here for the next 5 or 6 hours. So I'm down for whatever. These guys can choose how they play, but excited to see how it does go. As INnoVation coming around here and moving this Reaper around the center of the map at the moment. A Viking on the way out, and a couple more Hellions also coming on through here. So INnoVation's initial build order going to be focused on this 1-1-1 setup. Now, INnoVation throughout this event is he's been playing pretty much 1-1-1 into the TvZ. He hasn't been doing anything crazy. He's been mixing up in his build orders a little bit. He's been going between kind of faster armories and Hellbat Cyclone and Mech, as well as some bio play with Cloak Banshee openings. We even saw a Raven opening at some point, if I'm not mistaken, as we do see the first Viking pops out. And I'll go Overlord hunting here over the next few moments. As the Starport will build a reactor factory to the tech lab already. And INnoVation this game is going to be playing some bio right from the get-go, just off the back of these first 4 Hellions. He is not messing around. Oh, it's actually 6 Hellions he's already got on the map, so he's not messing around at all. He's going straight into bio play. Simpack coming up as soO just gets a few more Zerglings to prepare for this, but the important part is that the Roach Roaring is down, and we're already seeing soO beginning to move towards perhaps the aggressive, all-in-ish style of play that we were talking about before. And a lot of the time, soO, he was using these attacks to pressure, to deal some damage, and then to macro up behind it. We'll see what he wants to do this time around, because 9 roaches is a heck of a lot, and that's more than you would need even to shut down just a Hellbat attack here. So let's see if there's going to be much success as INnoVation seeing those roaches. Well, guess what? He's already building a siege tank. He's already set up towards that now. As the reactor comes down on the starport, he's already got a reactor free for this barracks, and now the bunkers will come up, and INnoVation is already setting up to defend this. But you can see soO is building up 14 workers, so he's also taking this setup where he's kind of, you know, droning already, so it's going to be some pressure. He's going to push to the front, but he's going to get shut down pretty quickly. But he is going to force bunkers. He's forcing the Hellions back home, which gives him some freedom to spread creep, etc. And again, even if he can't do much here, he's just drawing it up right now, and he's already at that 15 worker lead, as the Viking even returning home too. The tank pulls even further back, and again, INnoVation, some safety here with the double bunker to make sure he will not die off, as we are going to be seeing the lair on the way up as well. So he's going towards the lair, the transition here to start a +1 missile attack, and probably the roach speed as well in the near future, in towards this, in towards the middle of this. As we are going to be seeing these roaches, the Ravagers, coming all the way down to the bottom left-hand side. The 2 evolution chambers are on the way up as well here for soO. So let's just, again, go in, and he's going to go into both of those upgrades. He drops a Baneling Nest as well. I think at this point, probably identifying his bio, he poked up this ramp, probably saw a few Marines, is probably happy with that, and what he was doing the other day was from this Roach style going into kind of Roach Bane in general. So setting up in towards that now, as the melee upgrades on the way out. The +1/+1 is already on the way though from INnoVation. I mean, that's one of the advantages of his build against this build order of soO, where soO really does delay upgrades, as he's now switching into Hydra Den as well. So he's just going to play Link Bane Hydra, not going to stick to the Roach focus style this time around. Maybe we see that in another one of these games later on today. For now though, it is going to be Link Bane Hydra. Melee upgrades coming up, Zergling's on the way out, Hydra's Den about to finish. Well, Roaches and Ravagers going to come in here, and those Hellions, I mean, at this stage, they're not going to add much more to the fight, as they find a Creep Tumor fresh off the Queen in the top right-hand side, and as they stem forwards, well, some of this creep starts to get pushed back. It really starts to deny just how much map control soO really has here, and it allows INnoVation to be a little bit more free with his pushes a little bit later on. So the damage he does here impacts him directly later in the game, when he has to decide just how he's going to engage, how he's going to attack here on Cerulean Fall. And as we do see the Marines for now, all of them kept alive in that first skirmish, by the way, very impressively. Going to unload once again. Those Ravagers need to be careful, because most definitely one thing those Marines can do is stim and target down a couple of Ravagers very quickly and very effectively. So this lone Viking just sat here in INnoVation. Will lose it here to the Corrosive Bile. soO just picks that off and takes that down. Now, the Link Bane Hydra is always very awesome at kind of running around the map and dealing with these kind of bio armies. It's a very good fighting army for the mid-game, while allowing you to tech up in towards that later game Hive tech. And it's been the meta it's been the meta choice for kind of ZVT for a long time now. I'm sure we're going to see a bit of a mixture here in such a long series, but we're probably, that's probably only the first time of many that we will see Link Bane Hydra in this series. So again, in this time it's going to be fairly interesting, because the upgrades are going to be fairly late. The setup in general from soO, because he didn't really deal any damage, will maybe just feel a little bit later in general. The Infestation Pit might not come down as we expect it to. We might be delayed on that just slightly, as we're going to be seeing these medevacs loading up again. And right now what INnoVation is doing is he's dropping around the map to keep soO busy and keep soO distracted, stop him from setting up run-bys, stop him from just getting aggressive himself, slowing down creep spread. And he's doing all of this while he builds up in towards the +2/+2 upgrades. As those finish, he's going to look for a 2/2 timing attack, where he's going to be ahead on upgrades, and it generally hits before Hive Tech. That's why it's one of the timings that you see Terran players throwing a lot behind, because it comes in generally as the Zerg is teching up towards Hive, but before they actually have the Hive Tech out. So it's a strong point for the Terran because the upgrades finish, and a weak point for the Zerg because their tech isn't out on the map just yet. And so that's what INnoVation is most likely trying to take advantage of here in the near future. As that 2/2, as it finishes up, you should be expecting those siege tanks to maybe start sieging coming across. If INnoVation sees an opportunity to actually get in a location, right now there is still a lot of creep, although if he comes through the top side, for example, he can definitely push towards this fourth base fairly easily without too much of an issue. So we've seen these couple of medevacs loading up and coming back up to the top side. INnoVation is actually just going to come through the center of the map here initially with these Marines, Hellbats, and tanks. So straight through the center, no messing around just yet. There's a few creep tumors already on the way down, and again, Link Bane Hydra coming in ready to fight this. And INnoVation doesn't look as though he maybe wants to commit to this too heavily. He doesn't want to push on to creep if the Zerg is there ready to grid him. And nowadays, with the Ghost Liberator play becoming so popular once again, Terran players have found an opportunity or chances to not have to commit so fully to the 2/2 timing, and to be able to instead transition in towards that Ghost Liberator late game, as it really has taken popularity again in recent times. 2 Marines drop down there, they're going to get cleaned up. As I appreciate, guys, the FPS a little bit low right now, not sure what that is. Some of these maps still do just have kind of maybe not great optimization, and so we do have FPS lag on a couple of them. So it's probably going to be cleaned up after this game, as we do see the big fight coming in, though. And INnoVation is set up down this ramp. You're going to see some Banes and Roaches coming in from the south side as well, but oh my god, a decimating fight here as INnoVation wins this convincingly, with only Roaches and Hydras left over, and also a drop in the main base at the same time. INnoVation is just going to move on through with ease, and he takes map number 1 of this series. Out of nowhere almost, he just sieges up in a great position down a ramp that, if you're trying to push down as the Zerg player, you're not going to have at that as well as we go. So if you are cheering on either of these players, do just hashtag them in the chat. You know, you can, whether it's whether your message is whether your message is attached or not. Sorry, having a multitask always gets the better of me. Hashtag the player names in your message in the chat, and you can show your support to these players. As you'll see, it doesn't show up just yet because I messed it up. But I can fix it because I am full of magical abilities like that. Just like that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, it's not quite in position, but you guys get the idea. That looks good. Alright, so you can hashtag soO or hashtag INnoVation to let us know who you are supporting today in this series. And we do want to hear it. We want to know who you guys cheering on, who you guys expect to win this. So, let's get this set up and ready to rumble. As we do start off to the top left-hand side of the map with our Red Terran player. Let's hear it if you're tuning on. INnoVation here on Backpfeifen Gesicht. And to the bottom left-hand side, we do have our blue Zerg. Let's hear it for soO. Oh, as my StarCraft takes a moment there, that was not good. It's soO to the bottom left-hand side. Well, my StarCraft's really having some issues today. We might have to restart this in a moment or two to just fix that. Maybe do that after the next game, as we will be taking short breaks after every 2 games of this series. So Reaper on the way out here from INnoVation, going to be coming down to the left-hand side, and we'll be able to get across the map pretty quickly here because of the proximity of the bases. As obviously this is the one of the interesting maps, one of the weirder maps that we do have in this map contest tournament. The gold-based natural and option, but something that neither player is actually going to commit to just yet, as you can see that grenade coming down, and the first drone actually going to get picked off already. So one drone already picked off here, as that Reaper comes back over through the south into the natural expansion to do a little bit more damage as well. So dealing with this second worker already pushing that away, as the couple of Zerglings here trying to just push the Reaper back in themselves. As the Spore Crawler comes down, the drone is protected, and INnoVation will still be happy with the one worker he's already gotten here. And as soO expands towards the Terran player, I mean, how often do you see that? Definitely not what you would expect, and so generally suggests something like aggression coming up in the near future, perhaps, from these two players. We've had some hashtag soOs and hashtag INnoVations in the chat already coming in, so thank you for that, guys, and keep those hashtags coming, because so far it is 50-50 between the two of them, but we'll be continuing on in the near future to see just how that scoreline does go. You see this Marine pushing away this Overlord from the main base, as soO just trying to pick up some info in the early stages. A couple of Hellions sat at the front. We are really having some issues today with StarCraft. Is this us? Wow, that was quite the lag spike there. As we are going to be seeing this Reaper coming up towards the upper left-hand side once again. A couple of Hellions just sat on the ramp. Ling's on the way out, as soO will get ready to, again, defend and deflect early. The question is, does he throw down the Roach Rowan? Does he set up in towards this set of Roaches here in the near future? Or will he play a bit more of a standard game, as we see the Stimpak on the way up for INnoVation? So he's going in towards Stimpak here. He's going to play Bio for the second time in a row. Now, yesterday when he was playing against Nurture, INnoVation used Mech to win the majority of his games, actually. So, INnoVation, a big change up from yesterday to today. I mean, maybe some days he just wakes up and he's like, today is Mech day, tomorrow is Bio day. Maybe he just rotates around. Anyways, we're going to be seeing these units coming into the center of the map. It is just the Hellions, and again, early on they can deny some creep spreads, hence shutting down the map control. Actually going to find themselves a couple of Zerglings here, which is nice as they dive down to the south side. INnoVation, he did find that third hatchery in the end, so he knows where it is, as we're going to be seeing the Zerglings pulling all the ways away, and now we're going to be seeing, well, a few of them going to start going down as these 6 Hellions dive into the natural. soO is just not able to shut these Hellions down in time, and the drones giving their lives to try and protect each other at the moment. 11 workers, if these Hellions go down, 11 workers is obviously not a great, it's never great to lose drones, but 11 workers is somewhat manageable for soO because he has shut down the majority of the Hellions, which means the map control is now limited and soO doesn't have to make any more units to keep defending the Hellions. He can just straight up produce a whole bunch of drones to kind of get back into that economy advantage that a Zerg would like to have, so that they can trade a little bit inefficiently throughout these early stages. We do see the Hellions going down in the end. The Lings counter-attacking will not find much more, and they're also not going to be able to find that SCV kill here, so they'll just have to pull back. But again, at this point, soO, he can just sit back for a moment or so as we see this Viking moving around, and INnoVation just keeping track of where the rest of these units might be moving to in the near future. Double evolution chamber here at the front of the natural, so upgrades are going to start up much faster than the last game. Last time around, INnoVation's 1-1 was about, well, it was over halfway done before soO was able to start up his own 1-1 upgrades, as we also see that Baneling Nest coming down in the main base. So setting that up as we do have this Viking all the way down the left. Obviously the 4th hatchery coming down now, and actually soO obviously feels as though he's able to defend this on the gold, so he's going to try and take the gold here as the Viking will be able to scout it, and actually does find a Viking, an Overlord in this position as well. As we are just going to be seeing this Overlord getting pushed away. And is going to be getting picked off here. So Overlord goes down, Hydra's Den and the Baneling Nest finishing up then. And again, Lingbane Hydra for a second rodeo already today on the Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament Grand Finals. Again, this is a $4,000 event sponsored by Blizzard, so thank you very much to them for sponsoring, and of course Team Liquid for running the map contest. This is the tournament phase of it, and these maps will go through an iteration phase as well as the next stage of the map contest. A chance for map makers to make some edits before public voting opens to find the champion of the map contest number 10. Now we are going to see those couple of tanks still firing away, and that hatchery is probably going to go down here. It doesn't seem as though soO will be able to defend this, and there is the cancel. Wouldn't be surprised if he just tries to take the 4th base down here for now, and maybe takes this gold base a little bit later on as he retakes the creep spread or so, and gets a few more units on the map. He's going to get these Zerglings towards the siege tanks, however, while he does that, we do have the Marines on the other side of the gold base, and so they are going to be fighting against those Lings. They're getting a few kills. The Queens here continue to fight too. soO's lost a lot though already, and INnoVation, a good trade here, a good fight. I mean, a lot of damage done by the tanks, as the Lings initially ran in. And now we're going to see some of those drones starting to drop as well. More Zerglings arriving here to continue fighting against those Marines. Marines able to pick off a bunch of those Lings, as again the drones getting picked away at here very swiftly and very easily. As Marines going to pop back forwards and, well, still just continue to fight this. There you go, Ling is coming in to try and clean this up properly, but I think soO might have just lost a little bit too much so far, as INnoVation rallying across the map with reinforcements. His medevacs are going to pull back to join up with the rest of that army once again, and INnoVation might be off to a very quick 2-0 lead here in this series. Some more creep spread being picked away at now as he's going to arrive. The tanks will siege up, and that hatchery is going to be targeted down, as that's going to be GG. I just got the fright of my life, sorry. My window just blew shut, and I got, my stomach feels a little sick from jumping. Is worth an extra $50 as well. So INnoVation so far has already claimed for himself a extra $100 on top of what he won today. Now remember, even if soO doesn't win a map, he will still walk away with $750 for second place. But let's see if he can start to fight back. As we go into Kherasan Rift, a nice large map here, one that definitely is easy to take expansions on and difficult to attack on. As we have to the bottom right hand side, our blue Zerg player, soO. He's going up against the red Terran to the top left hand side. This is INnoVation. Alright then, so how's everybody doing out in the chat today? Do you guys know? I think our bot for the votes is a little bit broken, guys, so we're gonna have to leave those off for now, as I don't think it's updating. It's been a little while since I used it, so it might be that the bot just isn't turned off and I don't have control of it. I'm sorry. As we do set up, it's only been 2 maps so far, so plenty of time for a soO recovery here. 0-2 seems like a long way to come back from, but in a best of 15, there's a long road ahead of us, so we're definitely not... it's definitely not looking impossible so far, as we're going to be seeing the barracks on the way up from INnoVation to get started here. Is this a wall-off even? I mean, that's just not a wall-off, I'm going to tell you that right now. Is this depot even out of position? Just none of this looks right at all. I'm not sure what INnoVation's done in his main base, but he is going to be opening with that Reaper to get across the map and to have a look across to see just what is going on in those early stages right now. So, INnoVation getting set up for that. As you will see, this SCV coming forward is going to throw down a supply depot to complete the wall. I think this depot is just slightly out of location. I think it's meant to be here, and then the reactor would go here to finish in, the barracks would be there. So I think he's just slightly off with the wall off to get things started. As that first Reaper coming across the map, off and away. Link speed is starting for soO, so getting in towards that, setup, which is going to allow him to move around the map a bit more quickly. It's a very standard way to set up. I mean, very rarely do you skip link speed in ZVT, because there's just so much you need it for to push back Hellions, etc. Usually if you're skipping link speed, you're already in that sort of position where you're looking as though you're probably just all in, or you're opening early roaches or something along those lines. So you are going to be seeing the Reaper coming forwards and just going to be starting to fight against some of these Zerglings here. Takes quite a bit of damage, gets one Zergling so far. That dance completed for now, and we're just going to be seeing INnoVation confirming the third hatchery coming down through the south side. And again, it's definitely an easy map to take back, to take hatches on. Rock Tower here can fully block off this direction to give you some extra time. Although that actually might be something that's more beneficial to a Terran player attacking than a Zerg defending, because if this Rock Tower goes down and this is walled off, you put tanks over here, and that third hatchery is just getting whaled away at endlessly, basically. So very interesting, as then you can continue down the south side to keep on expanding, or you can expand up top. One of the things on this map that I've always noticed every single time I've seen it, and why I don't think we've really seen players tending to kind of head towards longer games on it and trying to end the game early instead, is it's just so choky. I mean, who wants to run around a pathway that's got this much space on it? It just feels way too narrow so often here, and I just don't know where the open spaces are that you could ever fight. And that just really benefits anyone who's going to be looking for choke points and stuff like that. Now, there is a lot of pathways and stuff, flanks, etc. Could be beneficial for a Zerg. If you flank and the Terran doesn't have space to split, then all of a sudden, well, boom, you're going to kill a lot. But at the same time, if the Terran's got the siege tank set up, how can you ever move through those pathways? It's just not going to work out, as INnoVation is going to go Stimpack once again. So far, not really changing up his build order throughout the first games here. Two more Hellions gathering up to the south side as this Viking is fighting its way through this Overlord, so just going to be able to deny some vision right away, but already the third CC is scouted, so third command center being seen already, as we see the lair on the way up as well in the main base for soO, so he's getting that ready to roll, as we see the Stimpack is starting up as well. Now, the barracks play on this map will give him, because it's a larger map as well, give him a lot of space to work with, and again, because of how defensive it can be, if INnoVation does end up getting in towards that later game for the Ghost Liberator, he can definitely get a lot done, as the initial Hellion's already running by. Two workers have gone down, another Queen comes in, and this is where soO, he needs to really minimize how many workers he loses this time. Last time he lost 11, and he wasn't really able to recover from that. This time he loses 7, but gets every Hellion right away. I feel like this was okay for him, as we see that lair coming up. As that finishes, it's a much faster lair than previously. This time he's not going to be prioritizing those couple of upgrades which we've seen here and there. As we do see, again, just a few more drones continuing up as soO keeps the worker lead this time. There's double Evo Chamber coming down, and every time it feels as though soO is getting closer and closer to starting his upgrades at the same time as INnoVation. The lair finished, we're not seeing anything out of it just yet. Bane speed can obviously start up once the Bane nest is done, but that's not true just yet. That's still just now building. And the Hydralisk Den probably doesn't want to come down just yet anyways. It's a little bit early. Well, I guess with the double upgrades now, the earlier you get the Hydralisk Den up, the sooner those Hydras get into full throttle mode and are able to actually start doing everything they're meant to do. As we're going to see soO expanding up to the high ground for the 4th base. I don't mind it so much, although I do feel as though being able to defend beyond these set of rocks is going to be very useful. I'd actually like to see soO targeting down these rocks, opening up this pathway, because again, if this rock tower gets knocked down by INnoVation with his siege tank push at some stage of this game, all of a sudden, siege tanks are just going to sit here forever. And what are you going to do about that? Well, I guess you can run around here, and you can set up the flank to come in and engage, but man, it's just not going to be pretty. It's the sort of engagement you want to avoid as a Zerg player. So let's see what soO does about it. We'll see if soO just doesn't let him get into that position at all. As for now, the first Marines are starting to head out onto the map. Stimpak is completed. Combat shields should start up in the near future. For now, INnoVation is forgetting that, and that's a mistake from him. If he doesn't start it sooner rather than later, it could actually begin to affect him throughout this game, as we see those Marines joining up over on the right-hand side, and all the circling that does get in towards this mineral line gets taken down as well. Armory about halfway done. INnoVation on point here with his build orders that he's going to enable himself to get in towards 2-2 in the very near future. As you can see those Marines stimming in, just starting to work down this hatchery. So a little bit of damage being dealt, and Queens starting to set up at the front here to fight against. There's a couple of these Queens going to have to start pulling backwards, and well, loses one. soO defending in general and just going to back away from the tanks, which are not quite in range, although if he wants to keep this 4th base alive, he'll have to commit in sooner rather than later, and he does commit into this now, as a few Lings getting on top of the siege tanks, and they will fall. Marines into the main base, they were a little bit damaged here. There's a couple of Hydras and some Lings on their way up to deal with this. soO pulls back just until he has a few more units ready, and now he actually might be able to set up the Queens to block this, although there's a lot of space over to the right-hand side, and so INnoVation finds his way out. This was a defense from soO, a much better defense than what we've seen in the previous games, and this is the confidence now. Maybe that soO needs the momentum to actually give him a good startup and to move into a decent position in this game number 3. The Muscle Augment's on the way out. He's already got Groove Spines, and so his Hydralisks are getting to that point where they're going to be able to be as versatile as possible, moving around the map, grabbing medevac kills from a distance. So Creep continue to push forwards as well, and it's one thing that INnoVation does not have going for him. Because he pushed the right-hand side and got some damage onto the 4th base already, he is lacking in the creep clearing department, meaning that soO has a lot of vision around his 3rd base. He's not going to lose this very easily, as we see INnoVation with his medevacs moving around. He's going to start dropping here to try and again distract soO, buy himself time to set up into 2-2. Back in game 1, it was the 2-2 timing that won things out for him, so could be heading towards something similar here once again. And soO drops that infestation pit. The tech towards the hive has begun. There's a few extra barracks, another factory coming into play. INnoVation just macro mode, going straight into everything he's going to need for, well, the next 10 minutes or so, honestly, in this game, perhaps. I mean, maybe not quite 10, but for the foreseeable future, he really is getting up everything that's required of him, as we see a few Marines stimming forwards, not quite finding that active tumor here, which is a shame. Another scan has to be used for it, and you will be able to get this one too. So just cleaning out this creep. The more he cleans out, the better it will be for him. As that creep tumor goes down, Marines will load up into the medevac, and it boosts away off over to the left-hand side. As medevac over to the right, just sat around and waiting to see what's going to happen as well. As Lings and Hydras coming through, picking off those Marines, and as the hive tech starts, soO is getting into a position here where I feel as though he's the most comfortable he's been in a game so far today. So soO's setting up in towards the hive. 2-2's just over halfway done. 2-2 completing from INnoVation. As again, this medevac with 8 Marines inside of it is coming down towards the bottom left-hand side to see where else it can go. And this hatchery coming up on the far right-hand side of the map. Creep spread pushing forwards. And just looking good. I mean, this is exactly what you want. The 5 bases coming up. Your side of the map covered in creep. Control, not taking damage to the drops so far. Maybe now an opportunity arises for some damage to be dealt to soO, though. I feel for the first time this series is on the opponent's side of the map. He's ready to counterattack. He's ready to attack in and to deal damage. And whenever we've seen that before from soO today, we really haven't. He's been on the defensive. He's been kind of sitting back. And by the way, can I just say as well, INnoVation has not got combat shields, so he's still missing combat shields 10 minutes in, and that's going to help a lot in these fights as well. He just still hasn't quite noticed it. As that medevac's going to go down, this is going to be a cleanup here just as he loads up. Oh no, disaster! INnoVation losing the medevac, and that will hurt. Medevac coming over to the right, as we're going to be seeing another medevac to the left. INnoVation keeping these drops going. There's still one medevac here, as maybe he goes for drops in 3 different locations at a time now, rather than 2. He never moved across this time with 2-2. Instead, he's building up into a later stage, although he's only going in towards the next set of upgrades. He hasn't actually improved his army composition at all. He hasn't dropped a Ghost Academy. He hasn't started Liberator production, as we do have 22 Banelings morphing in. soO again getting ready to attack into the right-hand side. He also has units out on the map as well. He's left a few units here and there to deal with these couple of medevacs, and that's going to be what he has to start doing now. Already this Queen targeting down the medevac. This Hydra as well will do the same job. We're going to be seeing units in the main base to defend as well, and that is going to be a cleanup on this first drop. And again, the more of that soO gets, the better it is for him, as this game really has been all about soO. Great Aspire on the way up. Is he bypassed the Ultra Cavern completely? He is. As Triple Ghost Academy coming in. Oh my god, INnoVation is playing with our hearts here. Triple Ghost Academy at the same time. You usually see one Ghost Academy and the Ghost being set up, and then you see the build into nukes. And INnoVation is just like, nah, let's just go nukes ASAP. As again, he's losing so many of these medevacs though. Medevacs going down all over the place. And the more he loses, the more difficult it's going to be for him to stay in the game in general. As we do just have medevac to the south, a medevac to the right, still ready to strike. Still this army as well from soO. As soon as INnoVation moves onto the map, soO is going to strike, and he's going to strike with all of his force, but this is actually going to be a little bit difficult, I guess, because there's command center and rocks, creates a full wall off here. There's a full wall off here as well. INnoVation is going into full-on macro mode. He is not messing around. He is just, he is just going into... like, no, absolute like beast. He's just going to build as much as he can. He's going into Ghosts, he's going into Liberators. He's just using the drops to buy time out on the map. But until that's until that's truly set up, it's well, he's just using those drops to set up, right? Wow, this is absolutely crazy. Still no combat shields. Who needs combat shields if you're not even going to attack with your Marines properly? Maybe that's INnoVation style. I'm pretty sure it is a mistake, but it'd be kind of funny if you actually just skip combat shields like, ah, we got 100, 100, that's my, that's an extra ghost almost, something like that. As you see a stim into this bottom right-hand side is something that soO is not in position to deal with. For the first time in this game, I feel really caught off guard by a drop to the point where he's going to be losing a hatchery. So, not the end of the world. He has a hatchery just finishing down to the bottom left, which is where he transfers the workers to. He still has this Lingbane Hydra top right. It's just been sat there for so long. He's been set, he set up that attack so long ago, and obviously INnoVation just has not given him the chance to actually use it. As that's another 2 medevacs dropping here. INnoVation really letting maybe a little bit too much be done by some of these cleanups. So as this medevac, I feel like he's forgotten about this one over to the right-hand side. This Queen going to take a couple of shots, and it just gets out of there alive. Spore Crawler will relocate as the first nuke starting to come on down. soO already sees it, and he's moving into position to deal with it. Not sure that he really needed to pull the drone still, but I'm sure he'll fix that in a moment or so. It's an awkward couple of moments, just as so much harassment comes down in different locations. This Ghost alone over here is picking up quite a few kills, and soO does bleed off quite a few workers, but with a bank of 6k, 3k, it's not the end of the world to lose a few workers. 20 workers come back up pretty quickly, so those Ghosts get cleaned out as well. So it wasn't like this was a free attack. He cleaned up 2 Ghosts, the nuke got wasted, this medevac got dealt with as well. So, soO's still trading pretty well in all of this, and you can see resources lost. You can see just how inefficient INnoVation has been with these drops. 8,625 resources lost to the 6,325 of soO. soO, again, really has been in control of this game so far, as again, with the creep spread that she has set up here so early in the game, well, now he's able to see this attack coming forwards from such an early state as well. So as he cleans up that Liberator, he comes back over to the left-hand side, and he's already moving towards a position where you can push those Marines back. They load up into the medevacs, they boost away. As INnoVation just build more and more nukes here in this natural expansion. Getting that ready to set up once again, and this might be where he sets it up from. And as we see this Ghost coming in, and there we go, up into the sky. The nuke is off and away. And he's going to nuke the same base as he's nuked before. INnoVation is, or soO is actually trying to get an overseer here in time, but it's not going to be here. Oh my god, this nuke's going to land. It does, and every drone goes down this mineral line. He was just a little bit late, and soO, with a mistake that was unnecessary because he knew where that Ghost was. The overseer was running forwards. It just wasn't quite fast enough, and soO has to replace 20 drones once again, although again, it's not really chipping away at his bank too heavily, as Corrupt is out, able to now maybe shut down these medevacs a bit more easily, though he doesn't want to actually reveal them just yet. There's another nuke coming down on this base. The Spore Crawler goes down. Now the Corruptors are revealed, and this base is again the target of the nuke. Meanwhile, it dropped to the bottom left as well. 27 workers killed, and now more nukes going down. This one cancelled very quickly, however, as this is a nuke which kills 15 more workers. INnoVation. Wow, how many drones is that? I mean, 42 in recent times, taking us up to 74 workers killed in total this game. Crazy damage being done. There's 4 nukes on the way now at a time. I feel a lot of this was soO's mistake. This nuke that dropped here that killed 20 drones, that was a mistake. This nuke, he was pulling the drones back in. That was a mistake, even though he'd already spotted it. This nuke gets shut down instantly, as soO is starting to set up overseers around the map in kind of overseer mode to kind of extend their vision range, but they're very easily sniped down, actually, so I wouldn't be, overly confident as soO that that's going to be the answer to all of his Ghost problems here so far. 60 minutes game, and 60 minutes into this game, it's the longest game of the series up until now. As we are going to be seeing again, just needs the detection to deal with this ghost. Guys, soO. Oh my god. He pulls his drones away last second, so you will be able to defend without losing too many more workers, but the Marines stim into the bottom right at the same time, and soO is just struggling so much. Suddenly after deflecting aggression, dealing with so many drops throughout this game, suddenly soO is unable to keep track of this. This Spore Crawler is just out of location before. This time he will get the kill on the ghost in time. Another ghost sneaks behind this mineral line, as again, the nuke onslaught is just endless. The double factory from earlier in this game now just being used to scout, because he doesn't really have much more of a use for it. Tanks are set up, more ghosts coming out slowly but surely. INnoVation sets up into a larger Ghost Liberator army. As he has a lot of money in the bank still, by the way, and he does have the chance to build Broodlords if he would like to. Marines off over to the right hand side, and soO, a chance to stabilize now as he's rebuilding the work account. He has got the lava, so maybe again just thinking about what exactly he wants to spend his money on. Even though he isn't maxed out, his bank definitely will allow him to build up whatever he wants. As this time, these Marines are going to be found nice and quickly, and they get shut down very efficiently. So finally soO back into kind of efficiency mode here a little bit. But look at this resources lost. It's still in favor of soO by about 2,500 resources. So despite everything that's going on, soO still holds that efficiency lead, but he has been mining a lot less than INnoVation, which means that INnoVation is able to keep up nonetheless. As we do see, well, right now the SCV is trying to fight this queen in the main base. That's going to be a bit of an intriguing fight as we see some tanks getting thrown away as well. INnoVation just doesn't need that many siege tanks anymore. He'd rather start replacing those with the Liberators instead. INnoVation, when he's freeing up supply like this, you know he really is at that stage of the game where his army is getting as scary as it possibly can be. As we see a scan coming down to clean up the Zerglian. I mean, we haven't really looked at INnoVation's side of the map in a long time because he's been so aggressive and because so much has been going on. But we have got the planetary force to the left-hand side here. We've got a lot of orbitals. You know, INnoVation is pretty much getting every base on the map that belongs to himself now. The only base that isn't taken from both players here is this top right and this bottom left. And if all of those bases get taken, then we're going into a slip map scenario where we could mine out the entire map. A ghost down the right-hand side from INnoVation is going to be looking to do a little bit more here. Yet again, as a few changelings leading the charge as well. Liberators still coming out. Our third upgrade on the vehicle plating also about to complete as 12 Broodlords on the way through. So many ghosts, by the way. That's 24 ghosts just sat with this army here at the moment. As we're going to see this ghost around the right is going to come on through and is going to be starting to work its way, well, just nuking once again. It's been a few minutes without a nuke. And this is going to be the first one, as we are going to be seeing this getting set up to go. Meanwhile, the Marines are stimming forwards to start cleaning out a lot of the creep tumors, actually. soO is not seen where this nuke is, so he is going to lose this mineral line. And INnoVation is back into drone killing mode. 16 workers go down. This one drone, which was in an extractor, somehow survives. He was in the shelter when the nuke hit. And he's able to survive that onslaught. There's again another couple of nukes built and more command centers on the way. And more SCVs being picked off again as this stage INnoVation is just giving them up. As we're going to be seeing these Lings and Hydras. Again, pushing forwards to try and push back that Terran army. soO still has a lot of money in the bank, as does INnoVation. Another nuke to the bottom right-hand side here is going to be something which soO has to identify. The Broodlords are nearby. Doesn't want to bring them in, though, too quickly. Looks like he'll just pull the drones away. And then maybe have to re-expand here in a moment or so. The Brood's going in a little bit too early, but he will now be able to pick this ghost off. In fact, the Broodlings might do the job from the hatchery alone. Hydras and Banes fighting against those Marines. And INnoVation still has been making a lot of Marines, despite the fact that this has been kind of the later stages of the game. Hydras have to pull back here. The Bane's not able to connect at all. Means that the Hydras themselves are a little bit weak when they fight this on their own. Using the Spine Crawlers to help tank a little bit, as the Hydras will deal the damage if they don't get picked off so quickly. Ling's coming in now to kind of do the same job, and we are going to be seeing a cleanup here. A few Corruptors coming in too as the Liberators are arriving, and now the Ghosts, for the first time, those Ghosts are going to be setting up, and the Infest is obviously going to be a big part of this. If you can fungal growth the Ghosts, that's going to be huge, and those Ghosts are stacked, and that's a big fungal to start, but is there a follow-up to it? Well, maybe just another fungal as the EMP came down. Now the Infest is out of energy, and soO Well, he's slowly moving the Broodlords over to this left-hand side, and Nuke comes down to zone out this position. As INnoVation, the first move out with kind of anything more than just nukes for a long time. As you're going to see, this first ghost goes down pretty quickly. The first snipes are lined up, and they do start to drop. There's no queens here or anything to kind of back that up, and again, the infestors don't have the energy to fungal to cancel those ghost snipe animation. Some Liberators setting up and drones going down once again. Another nuke is setting to go now, as soO is just going to have to give up this base. One thing he's never really been able to do here is never been able to actually attack INnoVation or slow down INnoVation's economy. soO has been kept so far back that nothing has really happened for him to kind of, again, just stop INnoVation from taking control of the game. He has a lot of lava now, which he's going to have to start spending. It's going to be on more Corruptors, so he's going to fully commit to the skies. 23 workers going down as these Liberators are being cleaned up, and soO still has a bank, but not for much longer. If he continues to lose workers at this rate, you can just see how much more INnoVation is mined. Look at this. At this point here, a few moments ago, INnoVation was mining 4,200 mineral/gas per minute more than soO. That's a huge amount. I don't think I've seen a graph with that much of an advantage in StarCraft 2 in I don't even know how long. In a game that's somewhat kind of, winnable still for either player, I don't think I've seen, as we're going to see, well, that's the fungal growth you sort of begin to need. You're going to see another fungal coming down. Some of these EMPs actually dropping down on the ghosts. Small mistake there by INnoVation as the Banelin's starting to do a bit of a job as well. More snipes coming into play here as these Corruptors are going to want to try and get in there and shut down these ghosts. Oh my god, that fungal is huge. I mean, that's the sort of thing that could go a long way to saving the day here for INnoVation. He'll push this back. What a defense by soO. When I said INnoVation there, I did mean soO, of course. Those fungals definitely not helping INnoVation at all. He just begin to take this upper right base, and now INnoVation has every base on his side of the map, and he's even going to start taking soO's exterior bases as well. Resources lost is soO favored, but not enough to justify INnoVation stealing one of his bases, so he needs to shut that down, and he needs to shut it down as soon as possible. 23 minutes in, and if you guys thought these guys were just going to play some quick games today to get through this 15 maps, you were wrong. Because this one is really going the distance. INnoVation giving us a treat of a TvZ, because it was him who really just sat back and allowed us to get into this late stage of the game without really anything going on for quite some time. 7 ghosts currently building, 4 Marauders on the way up as well. As we see for the first time in a long time, it's actually soO on the way up this right hand side. I wouldn't have minded this ghost just EMP in this army, honestly. I mean, may not have been a bad thing to get rid of the fungal growths that are going to be a big part of shutting down those ghosts again and again. Some Marines going to back this up this time around as Ling Bane going to back away. This is where the Corruptors are going to have to come in and try and fight. There's some infestors at a distance. Need to be careful. And now, oh my god, nukes are going to zone out this army. So how do you actually fight this here? Well, we're going to be seeing these brutes coming forwards, but the nukes are just too much of an issue. The snipes coming down as well, and INnoVation is zoned soO away from his bases. So these units moving in towards the natural. Nuke lands bottom right to kill 26 more workers. And soO is in some trouble because he just can't really find a way to fight this. Here we go. Banes are moving forwards. The fungals are starting to drop down. The Corruptors will fight the Liberators as the Infestors drop the last couple of fungal growths to fight against this. And well, so many Broodlords have gone down here, and soO just does not have the minerals to really rebuild from this stage. And he's going to type out GG. INnoVation, a 25-minute game, will take the game number 3 for today. But Avex, the maker of this map, is definitely a map maker who is fairly well known. So excited to see what happens as we go into the top left-hand side. Our red Terran player is INnoVation. Now this is one of the rush maps, so it definitely is a map where you could see a much faster attack across the map, perhaps from soO, our blue Zerg in the bottom right, to stop INnoVation from getting into that mid-game where he looks kind of great, and the late game where he looks even better. Because honestly, in that last game, soO sorted out a lot of his issues from the games number 1 and 2. He didn't die off to attacks, he dealt with drops very easily. He didn't allow INnoVation to just get into a lead through the damage dealt in the early stages. But he struggled in the late game. And so what do you do about that as a Zerg player? How do you find the mix which is going to be the answer to that sort of scenario? It's interesting, as we do see Hatch gas pool, not the build order for once here in the ZVT, so definitely indicates perhaps an aggressive setup now as soO opens gas pool, and then the hatchery will come down later. But just in general, this means he's going to be able to get some Zerglings on the map right away. He's going to be able to set the Roach Roaring up as well, and then once he gets the Roach Roaring going, we're going to be able to see this, well, aggressive attack most likely. Now, it's not necessarily, 100% that he's going to do this, but it's definitely a possibility as we get this set to go. Twitch derped for me for a moment, says P-Clixian in the chat. God, it took me a moment to read that. But yeah, I think it was just maybe on Twitch's end for a couple of people, so no worries. Like I said, I've not had internet issues here for like over a year, so it would be very unfortunate if something started up today. Anyways, there's that Rotron we were talking about. I mean, with the gas pool hatch nowadays, it's just so common, and on a map like this as well, it's like putting 2 and 2 together. You get 5, right? Okay, maybe you don't. You get 4, and then it all makes sense, and you get the Rotron coming up, and, Roach's attack and all the rest of it. So soO's setting up into there's a couple of overlords coming in right now. As those finish, of course, his Rotron will be done, so you can make about 8 roaches here to get going, maybe even 9 or 10. Meanwhile, just a reactor on the way from INnoVation. In this game, he's actually not scouting. He actually bypassed the Reaper to go into a faster factory. Now, that will help him in the sense that the faster factory means maybe a faster Cyclone to defend, but if he throws it onto the reactor, he's just going to be getting Hellions out, and they are not going to help him to defend in this, against the roaches. So, getting into this and getting going, we are going to be seeing 7 roaches on the way here right from the get-go, and soO starting to build up into this attack. And again, INnoVation playing completely blind against this. And can you even hold on to this when you're playing so blindly? Well, perhaps not. We're going to find out here soon, as 2 Zerglings are going to try their luck, maybe moving in towards the natural, but they don't. The issue for soO is, soO saw it was reactor first, right? So I'm very surprised these Lings haven't shown themselves. Maybe because INnoVation didn't scout at all. The idea is he's just like, well, you know what, I don't want to give you any inkling of an idea that I might be going into attack, right? Because if he comes in with the first Zerglings, all of a sudden INnoVation is like, well, if you go pull first, it's very likely you go for an all-in. Whereas if he makes it just look like a hatch first timing, he really has no idea about this until just about now, as those roaches are going to jump on the first Hellion, although doesn't quite get there. As I imagined, I thought he'd be able to maybe pick off a Hellion, as SCV is already pulling up to the high ground, and Marauder will begin to build a Viking too, and Cyclone starting up on the factory. As we're going to see the first crows of Bals will be focusing on both the reactor and the supply depot here, hitting between them, and there's going to be seen, of course, those SCVs coming in to repair. So far unable to break this, although 5 SCVs are going to be going down already. Obviously just picking away at SCVs rather than wasting damage on the reactor and depot, which would be repaired of anyways. Now 9 workers killed. Already a success here, I feel, from soO. 12 workers killed and nothing mining or building off of the natural. A few more corrosive bars, and this is getting more and more difficult every few moments. We're going to see a Viking goes down. Here comes a Cyclone though, and that will help a lot too, as soO is droning up behind this. 15 workers killed with units remaining as well, so he's already saved from a counterattack without making more units. And as you are just going to have the Roaches and Ravagers just sat just outside the natural, as you have the Cyclone locking onto the Overlord here, so getting rid of some of that high ground vision. There's a couple more Cyclones on the way out, but again, soO right now, 36 workers to 19. He might have finally found a way to secure himself a first point on the scoreboard today. Remember, every single point on the scoreboard is $50 in your bank account by the end of the tournament. As $50 per map is given out here, plus you get a $250 bonus for winning the competition or the series in general. $750 guaranteed for second, $1,000 guaranteed for first place. Now we are going to be seeing the Ling speed on the way up. That lair is going to be finishing in just a few moments as well. And so soO can begin his transition. Interestingly, he does go Ling speed, so he is going to transition into a Ling focused style, but is still going to be using those roaches. Roach speed on the way up too. With the way that soO's played the last few days, probably will still go into the Bane Nest nonetheless. Double gas on the natural, and we're going to be seeing INnoVation changing up his own playstyle here as he's going to switch it up into mech play. And so maybe we don't see that Bane Nest, maybe we do see just the commitment to roaches as he throws down his next command center in location, trying to make up a little bit for the deficit he's at by just cutting corners and being a little bit greedy here and there. Building the CC in location is definitely a great example of that. So that CC is on the way as double armory drops down in the main base. And even though this looked as though it might have been one of the faster games of the series, it's going to start going a little bit longer, although soO definitely still holds a large advantage at this stage. His income is going to be starting to be a bit of a mountain to climb for INnoVation to get back into the game in that regard. And you can see it already starting to come into his army supply as well. You can see that initial roach rush was obviously very powerful, and then from there he's now started to build up a little bit as well for safety's sake in case of a counterattack with Cyclones. And now that he knows he's safe, he's going to make another set of drones or so to saturate the third base properly and then going towards a 4th hatch as well, probably in the near future here on Arashi. The 3 bases do come fairly easily because of the ramps, but a 4th is a little bit more out there. I guess maybe this base over here is the more commonly one to be taken. I don't think we've actually seen a 4th base so far. So we've not really seen a 4th base so far on Arashi in the entire tournament, because again, the rush-based map has been encouraging rush-based play. As we do see this queen just setting up there, and we're just going to be seeing this creep tumor from soO moving out towards the edges. Just a couple of creep tumors in different directions there, as again those siege tanks are set up. The cyclones sat between the tanks as well, and just going to be seeing those +1/+1 vehicle weapons on the way for INnoVation as that Spire comes in behind this mineral line. So Spire behind the mineral line, and already that's a little bit of a difference, as soO though may just win the game with this push, because there's only a couple of siege tanks, and there is quite a few roaches coming across the map here. Barracks moving forwards, we'll see this, and soO, the longer he waits, the more time there is for more tanks to come out. But look how much space there is for soO to utilize on the left-hand side of this base. That's one of the things we've not really seen on this map, that while it is a fairly easy 3rd base, it's still not the easiest of 3rd bases to hold, and this is a great example of just why. As attacking forwards here, those first roaches and ravagers taking a little while to make their way through the cyclones, but as they make their way through them, they'll be able to jump on top of the tanks, and as the tanks go down, obviously this becomes a bit too much of an issue, and that's it. soO is able to get himself onto the scoreboard here today. He takes a victory in game number 4, and he starts to fight back. And it's definitely an easier 3 base to hold, so that's definitely going to come into play here, of course. And as we set up into this, we do have to the top left-hand side our blue Terran player. It is INnoVation, and he's going up against the red Zerg to the bottom right-hand side of the map. Give it up for soO. WW, guys, is the English keyboard equivalent to typing the GG sound in Korean. It's just where the GG kind of sound is, so that's what's going on. WXY in the chat, hey, I subbed yesterday, where can I get the replay packs? The replay packs, if you want previous replay packs, they're available right away on our Discord server in the subscriber channel. So if you go on Discord, link your Twitch with the Discord, and then you can access the sub channel, check the pinned messages, the replay packs are in there. New replay pack will go out tonight or tomorrow, and you'll find it in your Twitch inbox, and that'll feature all of the replays from this tournament, including all 15 maps of this grand final. So again, guys, if you want to get your hands on that, it'll be available very soon, and become a subscriber today. Supports the stream, and it allows us to give you those replays. soO with the pool first play, but not with the gas, so maybe a couple of Zerglings and maybe a bit of a mind game here, where now he's going to maybe show the pool first by actually sending the Zerglings in no matter what. We're also probably going to see that Reaper coming out, which the Lings will probably want to avoid rather than a reactor expansion once again. And as he sends a couple of Lings across, obviously then he can maybe make INnoVation think, oh god, is this some sort of a roach attack? And obviously probably not, because the gas was delayed. It doesn't really give you that opportunity to go into roaches very easily. Some Zerglings going to be moving out here. 4 of them were the number built, so again, the idea is to avoid the Reaper initially, if that Reaper does move across the map to scout. And that's what soO is definitely hoping for, that Reaper comes across the map to identify what is going on. No SCV scout here, something which INnoVation is probably not going to do in any of these games if he hasn't done it already. Unless he really, unless the pool first really starts to become an issue, then he might. The Lings loop around the side of that Reaper as he knew where it was, and so he is going to be able to arrive onto the natural in a couple of moments. That's going to be a delay on this CC. The Reaper will be forced to come back. He sees the hatchery is actually pretty fresh, and so you will know that this was, again, some sort of pool focus play. And now the issue becomes, well, how do you scout? The next little something is going to see that SCV comes back to the low ground. INnoVation loses 1 worker, and soO loses 1 Zergling so far. Continuing up, he's going to get in towards the main base. He's actually going to be on top of the Marine, although the Reaper arriving should be able to push those Zerglings back. So that does get pushed away. As you're going to see that factory finishing up as well, as the Reaper does get rid of those few Zerglings here. The command center going to be finishing up in just a couple of moments. More drones coming in towards the natural mineral line, and the Queen also going to be able to throw down a creep tumor here at the front of this natural. 3rd hatchery going to be coming up too. And we're just going to be seeing the 3rd hatch getting set to go, as the Reaper going to be pushing through, and is just going to be hopping up into the main base where the Queen picks that Reaper off. So Reaper does go down, and the starport are going to be finishing up now as well. Viking on its way out. And we see the barracks has just moved away from that tech lab here to give access to the opportunity of building potentially a Banshee, although what we've seen previously from INnoVation is actually just moving that factory away from the reactor to the tech lab and building up a siege tank while going into the bio player. That's how INnoVation has opened in previous games to stay safe, and maybe the same here once again, as we do see him going in towards his Rotor and soO. Again, not a super fast Rotor, but he does have quite a bit of gas in the bank, so you have to look at it as a possibility of some Roaches coming out, as we're going to be seeing, again, just a couple of Hellions moving around to see what else is going on. Some hype in the chat to for the snow map here, actually. There's 2 more Hellions come through this top side. See what else is happening at the moment, as we're going to be seeing the Cloak Banshee on the way up. So INnoVation continuing to set up into this right now. 2 more Hellions popping out, and there's the armory actually from INnoVation. So going in towards a bit of a Hellbat follow-up here, something we haven't seen from him yet, and that's what's so great about INnoVation nowadays. I feel as though if you'd watched the best of 15 with INnoVation a couple of years ago, you would have seen the exact same build order 15 times in a row. But yeah, today, INnoVation is changing up a little bit. He's playing differently on each map, and you know, that's already fun to see, as we're going to be seeing those Roaches and Queens pushing those Hellions away through the south side. And as that armory finishes, Hellbats are a possibility now. There's a couple of Cyclones coming up too. First Banshee will join up also, but a lot of Roaches and the Ravagers as well. As we're going to be seeing soO. If he does want to move across and use these somewhat aggressively, well then he's going to have to, well, get going ASAP. But the Banshee finds the Roaches, and so already he's kind of forced back. He doesn't want to lose multiple Roaches before he attacks, because then by the time he realizes he can't do anything and pulls back, he's going to have lost 6 or 7 Roaches and maybe a Ravager or 2 as well. It's just not worth it to try and attack in this scenario. So instead is just going to sit at home. He'll be happy with the fact that, well, these units will still be able to deny the Hellions, as he's using these Roaches to tank a little bit more damage on the Banshee, giving him some time to set up the Spore Crawlers and to actually get detection up here, because this is the first time he's actually having to fight against Cloak Banshees in this series. And so far it's working out, as now he'll come back over towards this side. Ooh, just needs to try and defend against these Hellions, though, without losing too many more drones, and he will do that. He'll push them away. Not too many workers lost, and again, the Spore Crawlers coming up will really be a big help to shut this down now, as the Queen's gathering together over on this side. This Banshee continues to move forwards, and now will take some shots as it moves too far forwards, although just about alive still. There's the new Banshee into the main base. Just a Spore Crawler here to defend this. The Queen's all down on the low ground, and that's going to be a couple of drones picked away at from the extractor. As the Spore gets a couple of shots off, and soO does just have to pull his workers away towards the mineral line. But good control to minimize the damage taken here, as we're going to see the lair coming up in the near future. Unfortunately loses a Queen as he moves between bases. Now with the lair done, he can get the Overseer up. That mobile detection will come a thing, just as the Banshee actually runs out of energy and cloaks and gets picked off anyways. So an attempt to mech once again here from INnoVation. He just had a couple of he just had an attempt to mech in that last game, of course, but we didn't really get to see it come to fruition because of the damage he took early. This game he's been the one who's not taken any damage but has applied a little bit of pressure, and so he should be able to get into this mech play without too much issue. Again, a smaller map, and definitely one which you can run across very easily with the Roach Ravager, and so that maintains, pertains to be a possibility here for soO at any stage of this, as we do see missiles and carapace starting on those evolution chambers. And that +1 vehicle weapon upgrade is just going to finish up now in the next couple of moments. There's a factory or 2 in the main base as well, also continuing to get set up. 2 supply depots dropping down off over to the right hand side, and a single Zergling from soO also moving forwards. Going to be coming up to see what's going on as those Hellions pulling back up top, and Hydralisk Den also coming down in the main base. About halfway done here, and as it completes, the Roach Hydra Style will be well underway, and the only thing really missing for soO that we'll probably see in the very next minute or so even is an infestation pit, because without that, how are you going to get Hive? And without Hive, well, how on earth are you going to deal with those large number of tanks? Vipers are almost an essential part of your composition nowadays. As you see those Hellions gathering together, and again, Roaches and Ravagers pushing forwards to, again, just push those Hellions back. So the Hellions do get pushed back here. The Viking is, again, just sat overhead. As you see, this barracks also going to be used to scout here, obviously in the mech play. No need for that barracks, so just getting it on the map to scout and to, well, cover one of the locations. It's a nice way to go about it, as a 4th CC will build in location. Again, a limited number of bases on this map, only 6 in total, and holding both top and kind of 12/6 o'clock bases / the bottom left and bottom right at the same time is not going to be easy for either play or either composition here. what is going to be easy is pushing across the map with this mech army. And I feel as though soO should maybe already be looking to work his way through some of these rocks, you know, open up the map so that he can create the flanks in the center of the map more easily, because that's his opportunity. That's where he's going to want to try and fight here, in the center of the map. However, I guess if you do open those up, the mech army can push in a little bit more easily. But again, then it's flankable, right? Whereas otherwise, it's just going to push through these choke points, which is just going to be as difficult to deal with, even if it isn't coming as directly towards your base. It's still going to be an easier push in the long run, as we see some roaches intercept and quite a few Hellions going down. No Overseer here to get rid of this Banshee, and there's that infestation pit which we talked about. Maybe a little bit later than I thought it would be, as we are going to be seeing the lair finished up. Obviously, the Overseer is available, and he should be able to get rid of that Banshee that we just saw as well without further issue. But yeah, the infestation pit a little bit late means that the hive isn't coming in right away, so maybe we'll have a couple of moments here where without Vipers, this could be a small problem as some Hydras on their own. We're pushing back that barracks. Hey, I mean, the barracks just getting themselves a few Hydra kills is always going to be worthwhile as well. As INnoVation is money below 100, keeping up his macro. As soO, of course, is stacking up a little bit of money now, being maxed out. He's actually still building roaches. And that's what I mean about that hive just feeling as though it's a little bit late. He's still building some roaches here while maxed out, and it's that, again, that sort of stage where Vipers should be out maybe already. Unless he's really just looking to overwhelm this army and jump on it. He has got command kind of army setting up to maybe counter-attack in, to maybe just avoid the larger fight here, which INnoVation is most definitely looking for as he pushes through the center. Well, soO is going to start pushing forwards here himself. Those roaches up top are just going to attack in towards this upper side, so he's definitely not looking to go for the kind of the fight in. He definitely wants to maybe sort of begin a little bit of a base trade and get some damage done. He's doing that so far while keeping this army pinned back. Although how long will it stay pinned back? Because now it's starting to move forwards pretty quickly. And 13 workers killed is great and all, but how much is soO going to lose? Because eventually this army will start to get some damage dealt. And, well, I guess he is buying time. That hive's getting closer and closer, so the Viper play is getting to be more and more of a reality here. As he's replacing the roaches lost on this side of the map with more roaches. 20 workers killed. But he lost a lot of roaches in the process. He now loses the bottom side 5th base also. As roaches and hydras coming through the center. Maybe looking to pick off some reinforcements here. And this could go well as INnoVation already has to unsiege those tanks and pull them backwards. Meanwhile, the 3rd base of soO now in some real trouble. As we're going to be seeing this time, I think soO will want to commit into this here from a couple of angles. From the left and the right, having cut off reinforcements, he might be able to make this work. He's actually still got reinforcements trying to move across the map, and he's still sort of fighting that here. As we see those Vikings and Hellbats doing a good job so far. Wow, this is actually crazy. As we're going to be seeing the +2 Carapace got denied. soO's still controlling this army up on this side. You see the Spires on the way out. What's he going to do with a Spire, though? In this scenario, has not been able to find himself a chance to make any Vipers. Has been keeping his units here. Now finally starting to find a chance to come back in from the top left, but he takes a lot of damage. It was not lined up with an attack in from the right. It's that lack of kind of synchronization of the armies could cost soO heavily as INnoVation continue to push across the map. It's just looking so very good. Liberator's coming across as well. We'll begin to siege on up, and well, INnoVation is going to break soO here. The rush distance a little bit too strong for the mech army. And that does allow him to take map 5 and a 4-1 lead in this series as soO types out the GG. INnoVation breaks on through this. And again, we kind of look back to that kind of attempt to counter